Focus on yourself and stop being manipulated by narcissists. Imagine living in a world where the main focus is always on you. Does it sound selfish? Perhaps at first glance. But what if I told you that this simple shift in perspective could be the key to a fuller and more fulfilling life? From a young age, we are taught to put others first, to seek external approval, and to constantly compare ourselves. But does this path really lead to happiness? In this video, I'm going to challenge you to question everything you've learned about living a fulfilling life. Together, we will explore how putting yourself at the center of your own journey can open unimaginable doors, transforming the way you live, work, and love. After all, why do some people seem so confident and secure in themselves? The secret might be something much simpler than you imagine. So, are you ready to discover this new path? Let's go. Let's start with a simple but powerful question. How many times have you put others' needs ahead of your own? The truth is, many of us have been conditioned to believe that focusing on ourselves is selfish. But is it really? What if, in reality, focusing on personal growth and development is the most generous act you can do for yourself and others? Think about it. When you put yourself at the center of your life, taking care of your mental, emotional, and physical health, you not only become a better version of yourself, but also become more capable of helping, inspiring, and supporting those around you. It's like the old airplane analogy. Put the oxygen mask on yourself first, before helping others. After all, how can we give our best to the world if we are not whole? Imagine your life as a garden. For it to flourish, you need to care for the soil, water the plants, and ensure they receive enough light. The soil, plants, and light represent your body, mind, and spirit. When you take good care of this inner garden, it flourishes, and the fruits it bears can be shared with everyone around you. Let's bring this to reality. Think of a situation where you were overwhelmed, exhausted, and yet forced yourself to help someone. How did you feel afterward? Probably exhausted, maybe even resentful. Now think of a time when you were feeling good, at peace with yourself, and were able to help someone with joy and willingness. Do you notice the difference? Focusing on yourself is not about shutting yourself off from the world, but rather preparing to be in the world in a more complete, conscious, and balanced way. It's about understanding that your happiness and fulfillment are just as important as anyone else's. So how can we start this journey of self-development? First, it's necessary to recognize that you deserve this care. Then begin identifying areas of your life that need more attention, whether it's health, emotions, or even your career. The important thing is to take the first step, no matter how small it may seem. And remember, taking care of yourself is not selfish, it's wisdom. When you put yourself at the center of your life, you're not just benefiting yourself, but also becoming a positive and powerful force for those around you. Therefore, from today on, ask yourself, what can I do for myself that will allow me to be the best version of myself? And make it a priority, because your life and the lives of those you love deserve the best of you. The importance of selecting your confidants and companions. Have you ever stopped to think about how the people around you impact your life? Whether sharing your most intimate thoughts or choosing your companions, these decisions are crucial for maintaining your inner peace and personal growth. Stoic philosophy offers us a valuable lesson. Both our confidences and our relationships must be chosen carefully, as they are fundamental to our well-being. Careful selection of confidences. Stoics like Seneca and Epictetus teach us that inner peace is one of our most precious assets and that we need to protect it. This includes being selective about who we share our problems and challenges with. Think of your confidences as seeds. When planted in the right soil, in people of solid character and a calm mind, they can flourish into support and understanding. However, if these seeds are planted in barren soil, in people who lack the necessary empathy or wisdom, they may wither or even be used against you. Choice of companionship. Similarly, the choice of companionship is one of the most powerful acts you can make for your life. When we surround ourselves with individuals who already demonstrate kindness, empathy, and compassion, we nurture an environment where everyone can grow and thrive together. As Epictetus said, we should associate with those who make us better and avoid those who corrupt our character. This doesn't mean shutting yourself off from the world or avoiding helping others, but prioritizing being alongside those who choose the path of virtue and personal growth. How to apply it in practice. Observe the people around you. Who are those who show consistency in their actions, offer help without expecting anything in return, and have words of encouragement when you need it most? These are the people you should value and consider sharing your deepest thoughts with. By protecting your emotional well-being and surrounding yourself with good company, you cultivate an inner garden that flourishes and enriches both your life and those around you. Remember, the careful selection of confidences and companionship is not just a matter of personal protection, but also a practice of self-compassion and development. Make these choices a priority and see how this attitude can be the key to a more fulfilling, balanced, and happy life. Living according to your own convictions. How many times have you found yourself making decisions based on what others think or expect of you? And how many of those times did you feel disconnected from yourself, as if you were living someone else's life? Today's video dives into the importance of living according to your own convictions, following your path, and making choices that truly reflect who you are and what you believe in, regardless of what others may think. Life is full of choices, and society, family, friends, all have their opinions on what we should do. But at the end of the day, who lives with the consequences of these decisions? You. And that's precisely why it's so crucial to live in alignment with your personal convictions and values. Imagine your life as a river. When you follow the natural course of this river, your convictions, the journey flows more easily. But if you constantly try to paddle against the current, following what others think is best for you, the journey becomes exhausting, frustrating, and in many cases, meaningless. Living according to your own convictions is not always an easy path. It may involve making decisions that displease others or even challenge established norms. But that's precisely where the power of this choice lies. When you choose to follow your own path, you're actually choosing authenticity, integrity, and above all, freedom. Think of someone you admire, maybe a leader, an artist, or even a close friend. What makes them admirable? It's probably their ability to be true to themselves regardless of external pressures. They do what they believe is right, and that courage sets them apart. Let's take a practical example. Imagine you've always dreamed of pursuing a specific career, but the people around you insist it's not the safest or most conventional choice. You might even try to follow their advice, but over time you'll realize that the lack of connection with your true desire drains your energy and passion. On the other hand, when you decide to follow what you truly believe in, you may face challenges, but you'll be at peace with yourself, knowing you're living a life true to your purpose. The philosopher Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, "Do not go where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail." This is the spirit of living according to your convictions. It's not about being rebellious for the sake of being rebellious, but about having the courage to do what's right for you, even if it means forging a new and unknown path. And how can we start living according to our own convictions? First, it's necessary to know yourself. What are the values that really matter to you? What do you want to achieve? And perhaps more importantly, why is this significant to you? Then, it's essential to practice confidence in your own decisions. Of course, it's important to listen to advice, but the final word should always be yours. Remember, life is too short to be lived based on others' expectations. When you live according to your convictions, you connect with your deepest essence, and this not only brings a sense of personal fulfillment, but also inspires others to do the same. So from today on, ask yourself, am I living according to what I truly believe in? Do my choices reflect my values? And if the answer is no, know that it's never too late to adjust the course and follow the path that is truly yours. After all, life is your journey, and only you can decide how you wish to walk it. Cultivate gratitude and avoid comparisons. Have you ever stopped to reflect on the transformative power of gratitude? Amid daily challenges, it can be difficult to recognize what we should be grateful for, especially when we are tempted to compare ourselves with others. However, Stoic philosophy teaches us that cultivating gratitude and avoiding comparisons are essential practices for maintaining a strong, positive, and resilient mindset. The practice of gratitude. Life is full of ups and downs. When adversity arises, our minds tend to focus on what is wrong, on what is missing. But the Stoics remind us that even in the midst of storms, there is always something to be grateful for. Gratitude allows us to shift our focus from what we lack to what we already have, even if it's something simple. Imagine a difficult day where everything seems to go wrong. By pausing for a moment to reflect on something positive, a hot cup of coffee, a friendly smile, or a gesture of support, you change your perspective and find strength in small things. An effective Stoic practice is to keep a gratitude journal where you write down 3 things you are grateful for every day. This simple practice trains your mind to find the positive side even on the most difficult days, strengthening your resilience and promoting a more optimistic and balanced mindset. Avoiding comparisons. At the same time, it is essential to avoid the trap of comparisons. We live in a world where we are constantly exposed to others' achievements, especially on social media. It's easy to feel inadequate when comparing our path with that of others. However, Stoics like Epictetus teach us that each person is on a unique journey with different challenges and contexts. Comparing yourself to others is futile and often leads to dissatisfaction and frustration. True progress, according to Stoic philosophy, should be measured by our own standards and goals, not someone else's. The only valid comparison is with ourselves, with who we were yesterday and who we are becoming. When we focus on our own growth and recognize our achievements, no matter how small, we find internal satisfaction and avoid the emotional exhaustion caused by comparisons. Integrating gratitude and self-comparison. By combining the practice of gratitude with self-comparison, we strengthen our resilience and promote a more peaceful and satisfying life. A helpful exercise is to record your daily gratitudes while also reflecting on your personal progress. Ask yourself, am I a better version of myself today than I was yesterday? This dual approach not only cultivates a positive mindset, but also reinforces the focus on your own goals and values, instead of external standards. So, starting today, make a commitment to yourself. Abandon useless comparisons and focus on cultivating gratitude and measuring your internal progress. Remember that everyone's journey is unique, and when you value your own growth, life becomes much more rewarding. After all, what really matters is how much you're advancing towards your own goals. Keeping gratitude as a constant guide. Sacrifice and ingratitude. At some point, we have all made a sacrifice for someone and not even received a simple thank you. This lack of recognition can be painful and frustrating. However, Stoic philosophy teaches us that true satisfaction should not depend on others' gratitude, but on the integrity with which we act. We live in a culture that values recognition. From an early age, we are conditioned to expect gratitude or rewards for our acts of kindness. But Stoics like Seneca and Epictetus remind us that we should act according to our principles, not because we seek approval, but because it is the right thing to do. When our actions are guided by integrity, doing good for the sake of good itself, without expecting anything in return, we free ourselves from the weight of expectations and vulnerability to ingratitude. This is the power of integrity. It strengthens us, centers us, and allows us to act according to our values, regardless of external responses. Think, for example, of a parent who sacrifices nights of sleep and personal ambitions for the well-being of their children. Although many of these actions go unnoticed, these parents find satisfaction not in the expectation of thanks, but in knowing they are doing their best for those they love. Of course, recognition and gratitude are valuable and can strengthen relationships. But when we expect them as a return, we put ourselves in a vulnerable position. The Stoic mindset encourages us to focus on what we can control, our intentions and actions. By doing so, we become immune to ingratitude. To cultivate this mindset, reflect daily on your actions. Ask yourself, am I acting according to my values regardless of recognition? Over time, this practice will strengthen your ability to act with emotional independence, allowing you to find inner peace by living according to your own principles. So starting today, make a commitment to yourself. When making a sacrifice, do it with an open heart, but without expectations. Remember that the true reward lies in your inner peace, which comes from living in harmony with your values. This satisfaction no one can take away from you, and in the end, it is the only one that truly matters. Learning from relationships. Have you ever thought about all the people who come into your life as teachers? Every relationship, whether brief or lasting, pleasant or challenging, brings with it a unique lesson. Some people teach us how to be better, while others show us what we should avoid. When we begin to see relationships this way, we discover that learning is not only in positive experiences, but also in the difficulties we face with others. In today's video, we will explore how every person in our lives can teach us something valuable, contributing to our personal growth. Life is like a large classroom, and the people we meet along the way are our teachers. Sometimes we learn lessons of love, empathy, and generosity. Other times we are taught about boundaries, resilience, and self-knowledge. And the most interesting thing is that lessons don't always come in the way we expect. Think of a friendship that brought you joy, comfort, and support. This person probably taught you about the value of companionship, loyalty, and sharing. Now think of a relationship that caused you pain or disappointment. It could have been a difficult boss, a jealous co-worker, or even a romantic relationship that ended badly. At first glance, these experiences may seem only negative, but if we look closer, we will see that they also taught us something important, perhaps about the importance of setting boundaries, recognizing warning signs, or valuing ourselves more. Each interaction is an opportunity to learn. The people we admire show us the path we want to follow. Those who cause us discomfort or suffering indicate what we should avoid or overcome. When we begin to see relationships this way, we understand that even in difficulties, there is growth. Let's take a practical example. Imagine you had a boss who was extremely critical, never satisfied with your work, and always made you nervous. This experience, as unpleasant as it was, may have taught you about resilience, how to deal with criticism, and perhaps even encouraged you to seek a work environment that truly values your skills. On the other hand, a mentor who guided you with patience and wisdom probably taught you about the value of guidance and how it can positively impact someone's life. But how can we apply this idea of learning in our daily lives? First, it's important to have an open mindset. Instead of seeing difficult experiences as something to be simply overcome, try to see them as opportunities to grow. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this situation? What is this person teaching me, whether directly or indirectly? Another useful step is to keep a learning journal. In it, you can record the lessons each interaction has brought you. It can be something simple, like learning to be more patient with someone who has a difficult personality, or something deeper, like recognizing patterns in your own reactions that need to be worked on. And don't forget that learning doesn't just come from others, but also from how you choose to respond to these lessons. Sometimes the greatest lesson is about yourself. How you can grow, improve, and become more aware of your own actions and decisions. In the end, seeing each person as a teacher gives us a perspective of continuous growth. It allows us to transform even the most challenging experiences into something positive. Remember that life is a constant learning process, and every person who crosses your path has something to teach you, whether through example or contrast. So next time you find yourself in a difficult situation or interacting with someone who challenges you, ask yourself, what can I learn here? This simple shift in perspective can transform the way you see the world and contribute to your personal growth in ways you never imagined. After all, true wisdom is not just in the experiences we choose, but in how we choose to learn from all experiences. Acceptance of risk and uncertainty. Have you ever felt paralyzed by the fear of the unknown or the fear of failure? This feeling of uncertainty can be frightening, but at the same time it's exactly where the greatest potential for growth lies. Stoic philosophy teaches us that accepting risk and uncertainty is an essential part of life, and that by facing these challenges head-on, we find our greatest lessons. In today's video, we will explore how accepting risk and uncertainty can lead us to personal growth, and why overcoming the fear of failure is the key to unlocking our true potential. Life is full of uncertainties. From the small decisions of daily life to the big choices that shape our future, we are constantly navigating a sea of unknown possibilities. And it's natural to feel fear in the face of what we cannot predict or control. But as the Stoics remind us, it is precisely in this uncertainty that we find the opportunity to grow, evolve, and transform. Think of any great achievement in your life. It could be a successful project, a career change, or even a relationship that worked out. If you look closely, you'll see that all these experiences began with a step into the unknown, with an acceptance of risk and the possibility of failure. But what really matters is not the final result, but the courage to take that first step, to face uncertainty, and to move forward despite fear. The Stoics, like Seneca and Marcus Aurelius, believed that life is full of situations beyond our control, and that our role is to accept this reality and act with virtue regardless of circumstances. This mindset frees us from paralyzing fear, allowing us to accept uncertainty as a natural part of life. And when we do this, we discover that we are much more capable than we imagined. Let's take a practical example. Imagine you're considering a career change, but the fear of failing or choosing the wrong path prevents you from moving forward. This fear is understandable. After all, any change brings uncertainty. But instead of focusing on what could go wrong, what if you shifted the focus to what you can learn? Facing this uncertainty as an opportunity for growth, as a chance to develop new skills, meet new people, and discover more about yourself. What the Stoics teach us is that risk and uncertainty are not enemies to be avoided, but challenges to be accepted with courage and determination. And the most interesting thing is that often the greatest lessons come precisely from overcoming the fear of failure. When we accept that failure is a possibility but not an end, we open up space to experiment, innovate, and above all, grow. And how can we apply this philosophy in everyday life? First, it's important to recognize that fear is a natural emotion and that we all feel it at some point. The trick is not to let this fear paralyze us. A helpful exercise is to start facing the small uncertainties of daily life as opportunities to practice. It could be something as simple as trying a new skill or starting a difficult conversation. Every time you choose to face uncertainty instead of avoiding it, you strengthen your ability to handle bigger challenges. Another important point is to cultivate the mindset that value lies in effort, not just in the result. Even if you don't achieve immediate success, the simple fact that you faced uncertainty is already a victory. You learned something new, tested your limits, and most importantly, allowed yourself to grow. So, from today on, make a commitment to yourself. Accept risk and uncertainty as a natural part of your journey. Remember that by facing these challenges, you will discover your true potential. The fear of failure is real, but it doesn't have to be a barrier. Instead, see it as a sign that you're venturing into new territory, and it's exactly in this territory that the greatest opportunities for growth are found. After all, life is not about avoiding the storm, but about learning to dance in the rain. And when you accept this dance with all its uncertainties and risks, you begin to discover the strength and courage that have always been within you. Reciprocal love and careful words. Have you ever stopped to think about the power of the words we use in our relationships? And about the importance of reciprocal love, the kind that flows in a balanced way between people. Today's video invites us to reflect on how love and words intertwine, shaping our relationships, and more importantly, how we should be careful with what we say and not allow others' opinions to define our worth. Reciprocal love is the foundation of any healthy relationship. It's a love that goes back and forth, where both sides feel valued, respected, and above all, understood. But what happens when this balance is broken, when words that should be used to strengthen this connection are used carelessly or even cruelly? This is where we enter dangerous territory, where trust can be shaken and respect can be lost. Let's start by talking about the power of words. Words have incredible power. They can elevate someone, inspire, heal, but they can also hurt, discourage, and even destroy. In our relationships, every word counts. A sincere compliment can strengthen a bond, while a harsh criticism said in the heat of the moment can cause deep wounds. That's why we must be extremely careful with what we say, especially to those we love. Think of a situation where someone said something to you that stayed in your memory, something positive or negative. How did it affect you? Perhaps it was a word of encouragement that gave you the strength to move forward, or perhaps a harsh criticism that made you doubt yourself. This shows the lasting impact our words can have and how important it is to choose carefully what we say. And here comes the importance of reciprocal love. In a relationship where there is genuine and mutual love, words are used with care because we know how much the other person means to us. When there is reciprocity, there is a natural balance. Each person cares about the other's well-being, and this is reflected in how they communicate. It is a positive cycle where respect and affection mutually reinforce each other. On the other hand, when this love is not reciprocal, or when we allow negative words from others to define our worth, we enter a destructive cycle. It's easy to fall into the trap of letting others' opinions affect us, especially when it comes to close people. But it is crucial to remember that our worth should not be determined by others' words, but by the love we have for ourselves and for those who truly love us. So how can we ensure that we are cultivating reciprocal love and using words constructively? First, it's important to practice empathy. Before speaking, ask yourself, how will my words impact this person? Am I saying this thoughtfully, considering their well-being, or am I speaking without regard for others' feelings? Moreover, we must pay attention to the kind of love we are receiving. If you notice that you are giving much more than you receive, or that the words surrounding you are more of criticism than support, it might be time to re-evaluate that relationship. True love should be a two-way street, where both sides feel valued and respected. A helpful exercise is to practice positive communication. Try to give at least one sincere compliment or word of support to someone every day. Notice how this not only improves the other person's mood, but also strengthens the bond between you. At the same time, be mindful of the criticisms and negative comments you receive. Ask yourself, does this truly reflect who I am, or am I allowing others' opinions to influence my self-esteem too much? Remember, reciprocal love is built with careful words and actions. And while others' words may affect us, it is self-love and the wisdom of knowing who we truly are that protects us from negative opinions. So, starting today, make a commitment to yourself. Be careful with your words, practice reciprocal love, and above all, don't let others' opinions define who you are. Value relationships where love is mutual and where words are used to strengthen, not to destroy. Because in the end, these are the relationships that truly enrich our lives and help us grow as human beings. Saying no and time management. How many times have you said yes when deep down you wanted to say no? This is a common dilemma we all face. The pressure to please, the desire to be helpful, or simply the fear of disappointing others leads us to accept commitments that often compromise our well-being and divert our focus from the goals that really matter. Today's video addresses the importance of knowing how to say no and how this practice is closely linked to discipline and self-care, essential elements for effective time management. We live in a society that values productivity and being always available, but what we often forget is that by saying yes to everything, we are actually saying no to our own needs and priorities. The ability to say no is not just a matter of assertiveness, but also of wisdom. It's about recognizing the limits of our time and energy and making conscious choices that allow us to live according to our values and goals. Let's think about this practically. Imagine you're working on an important project, something that requires your full attention and energy. Suddenly, a request arises. A colleague asks for your help with something that, while important to them, is not aligned with your priorities at the moment. The temptation to say yes may be strong, especially if you value this relationship, but by doing so, you may be sacrificing the time and quality of your own work. The solution? Learn to say no respectfully and clearly, without guilt, understanding that by protecting your time, you are being true to your own goals and taking care of yourself. The practice of saying no is above all a matter of discipline. And discipline, as we know, is essential for achieving any meaningful goal. When you learn to say no to distractions and requests that do not contribute to your goals, you create space for what really matters. You begin to manage your time more effectively, ensuring that your energy is directed toward activities that truly make a difference in your life. And this brings us to self-care. Often we feel obligated to say yes because we fear disappointing others or because we want to avoid conflict. But it's important to remember that self-care is not selfish. It's a necessity. Saying no is a powerful way to protect your emotional and mental well-being. It's an act of self-love where you recognize that your health and goals deserve priority. However, learning to say no doesn't mean being inflexible or insensitive to others' needs. It's about finding a balance. There are ways to refuse requests with empathy and respect without compromising your own needs. A simple, "I would love to help, but I'm focused on an important project right now," can be enough to communicate your position clearly and respectfully. Let's reflect on a common example. Imagine you have a friend who always asks for your help with small favors, and wanting to be helpful, you always say yes. Over time, these favors start to consume a good portion of your free time, leaving you exhausted and without energy for your own interests. By learning to say no gently, you not only protect your time, but also establish healthy boundaries in the relationship, which can even strengthen the friendship in the long run. A practical exercise to start saying no effectively is to make a list of your priorities and commitments that are truly important to you. Use this list as a guide when new requests arise. If the request is not aligned with your priorities, consider refusing or suggesting an alternative that is more appropriate for your time. Remember that by saying no to something that does not serve your purpose, you are actually saying yes to what really matters. And this is not just a practice of good time management, but also an act of deep respect for yourself and your goals. So next time you feel the pressure to say yes, stop and reflect. Is this in alignment with my goals and priorities? If the answer is no, know that it is more than acceptable. It is necessary to say no. By doing so, you are practicing discipline, self-care, and effective time management, allowing you to live a more balanced, focused, and satisfying life. Decision-making in uncertain situations. Making decisions is never easy, especially when we are faced with uncertainty. We have all been in that position where the options are many, the consequences are unknown, and the fear of making a mistake can be paralyzing. But the truth is, life is full of uncertainties, and avoiding decisions is not an option. In today's video, we will explore the importance of making conscious and deliberate decisions, even when the path ahead is unclear, and how learning from mistakes is part of the process to maintain a positive and proactive perspective. Imagine yourself at a crossroads. On one side, you have the safety of what you already know, but it doesn't take you anywhere new. On the other side, you have the unknown, full of risks but also of opportunities. Uncertainty can make you hesitate, but it is precisely in these moments that the most significant decisions are made. The first thing to remember is that uncertainty is a natural part of life. No matter how well planned your steps are, there will always be elements beyond your control. This should not be a reason for fear, but rather empowerment. Knowing that uncertainty is inevitable gives us the freedom to make decisions without expecting perfection, accepting that mistakes are part of the journey. When facing uncertain situations, it's crucial to make decisions consciously and deliberately. This means evaluating options clearly, considering both risks and opportunities, but without being paralyzed by the fear of making a mistake. Sometimes the most difficult decision is also the most necessary. And that's where courage comes in. Let's think of a practical example. Suppose you're considering a career change, but the new field is something you have little experience in. The uncertainty about the future can be daunting. But making a conscious decision doesn't mean guaranteeing absolute success. It means making an informed choice, weighing the pros and cons, and above all, being willing to learn and adapt along the way. And here comes a fundamental lesson: learning from mistakes. No decision is perfect, and mistakes are inevitable. But it is through them that we grow. Instead of seeing a mistake as a failure, see it as a learning opportunity. Every time you make a decision and face the consequences, good or bad, you gain more wisdom and preparedness for future choices. This is the essence of a positive and proactive perspective. Understanding that every step, even those that seem like a detour, is part of the journey. Another important point is to maintain an open and flexible mindset. Sometimes life takes us in directions we didn't expect, and the ability to adapt to these changes is crucial. Making conscious decisions is not about following a rigid plan, but about being prepared to adjust the course as new information and challenges arise. To cultivate this mindset, a helpful practice is regular reflection. Take time to review the decisions you've made recently and ask yourself, what did I learn from this experience? How can I apply this learning in the future? This not only helps you grow, but also develops greater confidence in your ability to make decisions, even amidst uncertainty. And finally, remember to maintain a positive perspective. Uncertainty can be intimidating, but it's also a sign that you're moving, that you're seeking something bigger and better. Instead of fearing what lies ahead, embrace uncertainty as part of the adventure of life. Each decision, no matter how small it may seem, is a step towards your growth and fulfillment. So the next time you find yourself in an uncertain situation, take a deep breath and remember, uncertainty is a natural part of the process. Make your decision consciously and deliberately. Be prepared to learn from mistakes and maintain a positive perspective. After all, life is made of choices, and each one, no matter how uncertain it seems, is an opportunity to grow, learn, and get closer to what truly matters. This is the beauty of decision-making in uncertain situations. It's not just about the final destination, but about the journey you take along the way and the lessons you carry with you. We've reached the end of our journey, and now it's time to reflect on everything we've discussed. We've talked about the importance of focusing on yourself, of carefully choosing the people and words you bring into your life, of facing uncertainties with courage, and of making decisions with awareness. But what good is all this knowledge if it remains just theory? The true power of Stoic philosophy and any wisdom we acquire only manifests when we put it into practice. And that's exactly what today's video proposes: personal transformation through action. Life is a continuous series of choices and challenges. At every moment, we have the opportunity to apply the Stoic principles we've discussed. Whether it's saying no to protect our time and energy, accepting uncertainty with a positive mindset, or choosing reciprocal love and careful words to nurture our relationships, every action we take is a step toward our best version. But personal transformation is not something that happens overnight. It is a continuous process, a daily commitment to live according to the values we choose. And the best way to start this transformation is through action, beginning with small steps. Perhaps it's a difficult decision you need to make, a boundary you need to set, or simply the act of practicing gratitude daily. The important thing is to start. The Stoics remind us that true wisdom lies in action. It's not enough to know what is right. We must live according to that knowledge. And this requires courage, discipline, and above all, consistency. Personal transformation is not about achieving a perfect state, but rather about engaging in a continuous process of growth and improvement. So how can you start applying these Stoic teachings in your daily life? First, identify an area where you feel you need more balance or strength. It could be in your relationships, how you manage your time, or how you deal with life's uncertainties. Then, choose a concrete action you can take to start changing that area. Remember that small changes, when done consistently, can lead to significant transformations. And here comes a call to action. Don't wait for the perfect occasion or ideal conditions to start transforming yourself. Life is now, and every moment is a new opportunity to grow and improve. Use challenges and uncertainties as catalysts for your transformation. Be proactive in applying these principles, even when the situation seems difficult or uncertain. Remember that Stoic philosophy teaches us to be responsible for ourselves, to be the architects of our own destiny. And this is only possible through deliberate and conscious action. When you start living according to these principles, you not only become a more resilient and balanced person, but also inspire those around you to do the same. So, starting today, make a commitment to yourself. Apply what you've learned, one step at a time, continually seeking to become the best version of yourself. Personal transformation is a journey, not a destination, and every action you take is a brick in that construction. Keep building, keep growing, and remember that the power to transform your life has always been in your hands. At the end of this video, the challenge is simple but powerful. Start now. Transform knowledge into action, turn ideas into reality, and most importantly, transform yourself into the person you know you can be. The journey may not be easy, but it is undoubtedly the most rewarding you can embark on. And the best part, it starts today with your decision to act.